I'm going to stop messing around with this. So, welcome to
That,
my bedroom.
yeah, that
Hey,
didn't work at all. What are you? You're still looking like you're a front round
Oh,
background,
what's that done? Oh, I've
front
messed
round
it up
background.
for everyone.
you've messed it all up. What's wrong with you? Why would you
I
do that?
don't know. What did I do?
Yeah, I was just a suggester, man.
I'm not the decider. I'm just a suggester.
Oh no. How have I? Sorry, guys. How you guys doing?
We're good. How
Oh
are
yeah,
you?
Yeah, all right, thank you. All right, considering.
You're alive. We see that. That's good.
I'm alive, no COVID so far,
No
apparently.
COVID. You haven't been attacked by police.
Not yet, no. Several friends were yesterday, so that's exciting.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've had quite a few friends of ours that were out in Detroit the last couple of nights who were either directly kind of adjacent to everything that was happening physically, and or videotaping it, or I think one of our friends actually did get like tear gassed.
Yeah, one of our friends yesterday as well. And of course, Kim and Chad live right in the thick of it downtown.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I
They
saw them posting some videos of the street right by the loft there.
Getting some updates.
fine. Lost their office in one of the Hollywood fires.
Oh
I was
Jesus,
watching it,
Oh
literally
really?
watching it live on CNN burn. It was
Wow.
just surreal and
that's
awful.
crazy.
Yeah.
You're still in the LA area, aren't you, Bex?
Yeah, but I'm East LA, so I'm only 10 minutes from downtown. But I'm in like a really quiet suburban neighborhood that doesn't even really have that much of, well, it doesn't have a town center. It's sort of got a main strip that's got about four, five shops on it and a bunch of fast food joints, and that's it. So there isn't really anywhere to go protest, even if people wanted to.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, there's been like it's mostly been in downtown Detroit around where we are, but we were just out a little bit before this and we saw in like one of the suburbs kind of next to where I live, there were some people protesting kind of in the main street. Not blocking anything, but they just announced like there's an 8 p.m. curfew announced for Detroit now,
Same.
and I think it's everywhere else it's 9 or 8 or something like that, but
I
it's
saw some
crazy. Last
places
night
at 10
seeing,
too.
yeah, last night it was crazy though because people were out in the middle of the curfews being announced, and then they were kind of
Right.
stranded out there. I saw some video footage of people who were just kind of on their way home, not even part of the protest, get pulled over and tased by police just because it was out
I
past
heard about
curfew.
that this morning. I haven't heard any of that happening in LA, though I'm sure it did.
Hmm.
But I mean, they called an 8 p.m. curfew at 7:05.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just completely crazy. And I did wonder if maybe it was just a legal thing that they needed to do in order to justify later actions, because it's completely ineffective. And of course, if you're somebody that's out looting and rioting, I'm pretty sure you don't care too much about curfew.
no,
No, probably
But
not.
now they've rolled in the National Guard today. Um,
yeah.
so it's such a shame because I don't know if you saw any of the video of the actual protests in Hollywood yesterday, but it was incredible. Like thousands and thousands of people just filling the streets, kneeling, so entirely peaceful. And then of course it just gets ruined by the fucktards that decide they're going to take the advantage of the situation.
Yeah, I didn't see
Yeah.
any of the footage from that specific protest, but I mean that's what I'm seeing in kind of every city is that these start out extremely peaceful until either you get kind of outsiders coming in, doing crazy stuff, breaking glass, starting fires, disrupting things, and kind of inciting violence themselves, or police throwing in tear gas or bear mace or I mean they've more often than not been the ones that kind of started everything.
Right. I don't have an issue so much with the tear gas when there really is rioting and you need to disperse
Right.
the crowd. Like, if it gets to that point, it is at least the least lethal of the tactics they employ. But I mean, what really, really gets me is all the rioting downtown that destroyed all the businesses. And the majority of those businesses are small, independently owned,
Hmm.
largely people of color, because it is a very traditionally Hispanic, Latino neighborhood.
Hmm.
It, they've had a lot of poverty in that part of town. And so actually they're just destroying their own. I don't get that. But then I guess it's not the protesters doing it, it's the people taking
Yeah.
advantage.
I think that's kind of what's been coming out in a lot of other cities too, is that it most times is not the protesters. It's those um, outside forces and people that are not really part of that movement, who are just kind of coming in and starting stuff to start stuff.
Well, I heard that a friend of a friend lives just outside of Minneapolis. I forget the name of the town, but he was actually standing outside his property, guarding it against the influx of the KKK who arrived to
Yeah.
construct
Right.
their own.
Been hearing about that too.
Fuck!
Yeah.
I despair.
I mean, it's crazy that you have to, like, you're going out with the intent of peacefully protesting, and you have to be on the lookout for those things just to keep yourselves safe and keep everybody else safe. It's madness. And then the few positive things I have seen is, there's a couple cities where police are laying down all of their riot gear and marching with or protesting with the people.
I saw a picture of that this morning, and that's brilliant. Better than the New York cops driving into the protesters.
I saw that and I lost my mind. I sent it to Chris and I was just like,
yeah,
dude, did
that
you
was
see
insane.
this?
We were going nuts watching it here, and Friday night I was going nuts because I just kept seeing video of police officers literally picking women up and throwing them to the ground.
Tackling them, throwing them, punching
Yeah.
people in the face that are just standing there.
But the video of cops driving into the crowd that they've been broadcasting on CNN and the other news networks isn't actually the one that I saw initially. There's one taken from the other side, so the vantage point is a little bit higher up.
Mm-hmm.
So you literally watch it happen and the bodies fly out the way.
Yeah. I've seen two of them. I think I saw that one, but the other one I saw was sort of from the back of one of the police cars, where you see on the other side of the barricade, people are right up against it. And there's like some traffic cones and some things being thrown at the cop car, but they're not, like, that's all they're doing at that point. And then out of nowhere, this cop just accelerates into the barricade, pushing them back. And I saw that and was like, dude, what? Like,
somebody
what is
had
that
to
going
have
to
gotten
do?
at least a little bit hurt from that too. What I do see most from people who are live streaming it, it's for the most part, it's people are just standing together and protesting together very peacefully. And the stuff that's going to get shared on the internet is all that crazy action that goes on. So, I mean, for the most part, like, my sister's in Pittsburgh, she was marching, and everything was pretty good. There was still like some fires and stuff, but she was totally safe. She never felt unsafe. And then with the friends that are in Detroit too, just all the footage that they're showing is just everybody standing together, which I think is great. And then we just passed by one in Ferndale too. Also, people standing together, no violence, no anger.
I really wanted to go down to the Hollywood one yesterday. Actually, I wanted to go downtown initially, but I'll be completely honest. Downtown at the best of time, I really hate parking there, and I don't trust leaving my car. So in the
Yeah.
Right.
But I did want to go into Hollywood, but my boyfriend sort of talked me down from that. I wasn't fired up or anything, and obviously that was during the day, and I figured it was just going to be primarily a peaceful protest, which it was primarily.
Yeah, I think it seems like it's tended to be a little bit more peaceful during the day, and then the longer it goes on, it starts to get a little dicey. Yeah.
Yeah. Where's the biggest one by you? Is it Hollywood?
Yeah, that was the biggest one. I mean, the closest is downtown, but Hollywood it was in an area that I know extremely well. It's like 5 minutes from my office. And like I say, my friend had their offices around there. It's an area that we go to. There's an amazing Jewish deli called Cantor's. It's a really good area, generally speaking, a very wealthy one. And the shops that were looted were largely high-end, fashion stores and things.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just completely crazy, isn't it? Because
it's wild.
of it is they must have seen this coming. Aside from the fact that there was a very good cause that precipitated this in the first instance, you got to wonder what level it would have gotten to had people not been in quarantine for 2 months prior, because everybody's itching to get outside, and this is a great excuse to let off some of that pent up energy.
Yeah.
Well, people have time to protest versus like people are not working as much because of the virus. So when you have a job, you can't just always leave your job to be a part of something like this.
Sure. And then there's always the mob mentality, particularly when things start getting violent and a little bit sketchy. There are people that go and join, obviously, just for the sake of that and burn off their energy and want a piece of the action and see it as a something to take advantage of and all the rest. Oh, I just hate it. I don't like people anyway. This is not mind.
Yeah, we're introverts too.
You can change your background if you want to. Do you
I
want
don't think I've got any good pictures stored on mine now. I think I deleted them all because I got irritated with them. I think I was in a bar at one point. Oh, it's not going to do it from where I'm sitting.
It's just on your shirt.
It made you the background.
A bit like a weird earring. I don't know why this isn't working right now. Oh, hang on. Oh, I'm going to stop messing around with this. So, welcome to my bedroom.
Hey,
it didn't work at all. What are you? You're still looking like you're a front round background.
Yeah, what's that done? Oh, I've messed it up for everyone.
You've messed it all up. What's wrong with you? Why would you do that?
I don't know. What did I do?
Yeah, I was just a suggester, man.
I'm not the decider. I'm just a suggester.
Oh no. How have I? Sorry, guys.
This is unprofessional.
This is incredibly unprofessional.
It just look like it's what you're wearing.
I thought you were supposed to be a booking agent. What is this?
Oh, click it on none.
There it is.
All right.
I told you I'm not a booking agent anymore. No touring. I'm just head of IT.
Oh, dang it. We got to hire Steve back.
I'm not even head of the IT department in this household. I think I'm bottom. The dog's got a better grasp on it than I have.
I'm no expert in IT, although I've had to play IT guy to like most of my students that I still have to teach virtually.
My stepmother is a principal, and she actually kept the school open for kids of key workers.
Oh, really? That's great.
In the health field, still sent their kids to school as normal, and she watched them and taught them from the classroom.
How many kids were going there? Do you know?
I'm not sure, actually. I think it sort of fluctuated. It wasn't a huge amount. It was sort of, 15 to 20. So she was able to space them out. And I think there were one or two teachers that went in also so that they could have them in small groups.
That's interesting. I kind of had that thought when this started of, why isn't there something like that? Because basically all daycare kind of stuff shut down, all schools shut down. And it left all of the healthcare workers in a really tight spot where they don't have anybody to watch their kids, especially if they're a single parent and they're going, or if both guardians in the household are going as healthcare workers, or both essential. There's nothing that they can really do.
No, I have a really, really close friend back in the UK. And her husband is a cardiologist, and she's actually a doctor of respiratory medicine with a second discipline in disease control, basically. So she's completely on the front line. They've got 2 kids, my goddaughter, who's 3 years old, and a 6-month-old boy. They can't see their grandparents because obviously the restrictions. So healthcare has been a real nightmare for them. They've had to go in with some other friends and get a private nanny, which is a good solution. But the fact that they were forced into that situation in the first instance when they are, key workers, crazy.
Yeah, I think it's wild how, you look at how ill-prepared our country was to deal with this. And there's a lot of reasons for that we don't need to get into, but But then on the contrary, you look at how readily available National Guard and military equipment and all that kind of stuff is for, riot control. It shows you where the money in this country really goes. Yeah.
My dad was telling me this morning that in the UK, the news has been very largely focused on the situation in Britain, as you'd expect it to be. But occasionally they do slip in what's going on in another country. And this week they talked about what was happening in Greece. And what actually happened is at the very beginning of all this madness, when they actually got the tip off that stuff was about to go down, they actually sent a bunch of researchers and their sort of top strategists out to China along with 30 planes to bring back all the equipment and supplies that they would need for a complete lockdown. And consequently, they've been able to reopen the majority of their businesses, reopen the islands for tourism, etc. I thought that was really fascinating.
Wow.
That is fascinating.
Yeah, and I haven't heard anything about that.
No, I hadn't until this morning, but that's why I phone my dad every Sunday to get an update on what's going on in Europe and tell me what the weather's like.
Yeah,
to talk about right now.
Did he say anything about protests happening over there?
No, he didn't. But then my dad lives in super rural, middle of nowhere, nothing.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
He gives me an update if he's seen a person.
Oh, really?
Well, the weather's normal. I saw a guy today, so that's
what was that guy
cool.
doing?
Never normal. This is the UK. Never.
There's
normal.
also a sheep.
Oh, I do get the sheep updates. And the cow updates. It wasn't that long ago that the cows ate the wiring to the internet. So
That's
was
fun.
out for 10 days.
So he has sheep and cows?
I mean, he doesn't personally, but they live in the fields surrounding him.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, it's super rural. It's beautiful. And, it's great now because he's not quite in the bracket of people that are at risk, but he kind of is, and his wife certainly is. She's in remission from cancer.
Okay.
So one less to worry about the fact that they're sort of naturally isolating anyway.
Yeah. Where is that?
In the UK, in the southwest.
Okay.
They're actually in a place called Dartmoor, which is a national park.
Oh.
Cool.
So I don't know the geography that well to know like where in location to kind of bigger cities in the UK that is. Where, like, what's the closest city to that?
The closest city that you may have heard of is Plymouth, where the pilgrims set sail from.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next closest big city, although still quite some way away, is Bristol.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
When I'm trying to explain to people where I'm from, I usually tell them, well, you've heard of Glastonbury Festival? I'm from there.
I'm from the festival.
I
was born and raised.
Kind of. I'm not kidding.
Backstage.
Festival. It was something Bath Blues and Bath Showgrounds Blues Festival or something that my dad used to take me to. So.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to try to turn on this light. Got weird lighting. The sun moved and then put me
I
kind
like
of
this sort of sunlight aura you have to one side of the screen here.
Yeah, it's like you've got a special energy going on.
It just showed up while you guys were talking.
I was wondering if it was you or the medicine that Dr. Father gave to me. The special medicine.
Have you guys managed to see each other during quarantine, or is it a total lockdown and you daren't risk it?
We didn't see each other for almost 2 months.
Right.
We're in the same house right now.
Yeah, we're in different rooms of the same house right now. But this is the first time we've done the podcast like this. We usually are, or what we have been doing, because prior to, we did, I don't know if you talked to Kim about this, but we did like a private live stream for a fan in Portland for his birthday. And so we didn't get together in person until the day before that to practice. So like it was like 2 months. We hadn't touched an instrument, hadn't practiced, hadn't done anything. And we practiced for like an hour the day before and then showed up and did like 7 hours of kind of like pre-production type stuff to make sure everything was working properly. And It was cool. Shout out to Matt Pierce and to Brenda. Those were the people that we did the live stream for. It was Matt's 47th birthday.
That's so cool. What a great thing to do.
It was really cool. We'll have to send you a photo. They sent us a photo of him standing next to the TV that they were streaming it from, and he's got his arms out like this. He just looks mega stoked. Awesome. But yeah, we hadn't gotten together in person until the day before we did that, and now our governor has allowed it kind of eased the restriction of now you can gather with like 10 people or less. And
right.
so we've been able to get together in person since then.
Yeah, I expected us to be a lot sloppier actually when we first ran through things, because I felt really off, but then it kind of locks back in sooner than you would expect. It just started feeling right again.
Riding a bike, but it must have been very strange to do it for the first time in so long. I feel like you're certainly not going to be the only people.
No, yeah, it was weird. And I mean, Chris, I think probably has it harder than me just because I can pick up a guitar wherever I am.
Right.
But Chris lives in an apartment or like a condo building, and he has drums over there, but he doesn't have enough like padding to actually play them or practice like normal.
Well, yeah, I was just playing with sticks. I didn't actually get to play like big drums, because, and even so, I have
different.
I have pads and mutes and stuff, but yeah, to feel the vibration and the rebound off of the heads of the drums makes a big difference. And I did have that feeling when we were like, okay, let's meet up on Friday because of the live stream and stuff. It was like, okay, so I'm like, are we actually doing this? Are we actually getting together? I was like, okay, now we're actually allowed to do this. It's okay.
It's so strange seeing people for the first time when you've been on lockdown with, whether you're by yourself or with a significant other or your flatmate, whatever.
Yeah, that was the first time kind of for me.
I'm so fortunate to have a fairly sizable yard here so that, I can have people over and we can socially distance around a bonfire or a barbecue or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
We've had more than 2 people over at a time, but the first people we saw were Kim and Chad, and actually the only people we've seen apart from Ben's brother.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. How often have you seen them?
Honestly, I think we've actually only seen them in person once. We were supposed to get together and go to the mountains yesterday just for a socially distanced walk. But it seems like a lot of the trails that had been opened have been closed again.
Okay.
But we've done quite a few Zoom hangs.
Good.
Do you know why those trails were closed?
I think a lot of people just are idiots and can't be.
Well, that's definitely true.
As soon as
talking to 2 of them.
Well, as soon as they started opening things up, again, people just sort of flocked and caused all sorts of chaos.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty depressing, particularly after Memorial Day weekend, whereas, there were various people posting footage of either whether it's the mountain walkways or the paths around Malibu or the beaches or whatever that were just littered. Entirely just shows you how many people were out, and I guess it's to be expected when everybody's being cooped up a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I had a feeling it was going to happen eventually anyway. Yeah. But now, I mean, at this point with the protests going on, there's no avoiding it. I mean, like as much as people have tried to protest socially distant, it eventually ends up where you can't avoid it. And part of that, I think, is, obviously like having to travel in numbers just for safety. But yeah, it's crazy. All the things that are happening at one time.
Yeah, it is.
What a world, eh? What a world.
What a world.
Are the beaches even open over there?
Yeah, they started opening some up. I think Huntington Beach was the first one. And then I believe that they opened up Venice and Santa Monica, although they may have closed Santa Monica straight back down. But they opened it up initially for surfing and sports. And then I think you were allowed to hang out on the beach if you were in small socially distanced groups. I don't know, I've been paying attention quite frankly. The last place I want to go because people are idiots, as we've established.
Yeah,
and
sure.
As much as I trust myself or my friends to quarantine safely and have good hygiene, I don't trust the rest of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going on trails, like walking the dog and going on jogs and stuff, and I stopped going to certain trails because they're packed.
Yeah.
It's like just as bad as being in a, I don't know, like a mall or something. I mean, it's outside, but they're so close to each other. It's like this is not good. This
No,
is
people have no
exactly what we're
confidence
not supposed to do.
whatsoever. I mean, I'm really fortunate that I live really close to the mountains. So even in non-COVID times, when I do go hiking, which is most weekends, I go deep into the mountains because it's really pretty and
Where no one can find you or
completely
hear you die.
totally off-grid.
If you die, no one knows where you are.
Kim, this is where I'm going. This is roughly how long it's going to take. I will text you when I get home, and if I'm more than 2 hours late, please alert the authorities.
Do you really do that?
Yeah.
To Kim?
Yeah. Yeah.
She's
Once a weekend.
Such
That's
a good,
funny.
responsible mom.
She is. She is. I share my location, and off I plod.
That's why she's our mom.
Do it every time. Sometimes if I'm just doing like a relatively straightforward 4 or 5 mile hike, fine. But there have been a few occasions where I've sort of done 15, 17 miles. So, I'm starting super early in the morning and I'm gone all day. And it's only going to take one twisted ankle for everything to go.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you go by yourself when you do 15 miles?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's why she needs Mama Kim to know where she is.
Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't take much.
I'm taking somebody else with me, but I don't know anybody else that wants to do that.
Well, I kind of get in a similar way too. If I'm like ready to go for a hike, and I do go for hikes, but I'm never in a place where I can get really lost or anything like that. But I'm jumping. I'm ready to go. Like I'm like, okay, I want to do a hike and I have time. I was like, I can't like schedule somebody and then wait for them to come over. I'm just like, no, I'm getting out there because the sun doesn't even last around here long enough.
No.
It might rain on you in 2 hours or the sun goes down.
That's Michigan. Now, if we lived out there, we'd go with you.
Well, the thing is that here you have to start super early in the morning so that you can get the sort of harder bits or the lower down bits done before the sun comes up too much and has too much heat in it.
Right.
You don't want to be hiking in the middle of an LA hot day.
Oh yeah.
But by the time or at least the hikes that I pick, by the time the heat is there, tend to be higher up where it's cooler anyway. Plus, I just like solitude, man. I like being alone and.
That's another good way of getting some solitude. Yeah.
That's why we don't like having more than 2 people in our band.
Yeah.
We don't like other people.
I can understand that completely. I can't imagine traveling in a van with a squad of people for 10 months out of the year. God, I'd kill people.
Some of them do get pretty aggressive with each other. You get people who hate each other if you got like 6 people in a van.
Bands break up?
Full of people come over to my house and stay too long.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't like that either.
Yeah. We've done a little bit with bigger bands too, and I've never done a full on like 3-month tour or anything with a group of 6 people or 10 months out of the year. Seems like unreal to me now.
Oh yeah,
we could do that with the 2 of us and like maybe another person that like if we had like Steve or Sammy with us or something like that. But it's got to be people that we know we get along with all the time because that's how we are. Like even if there's a disagreement, it's not like an earth-shattering argument over anything.
No, it never even gets really heated.
Yeah.
I see our touring stuff as like us, going on adventures together. And then we share our feelings, and then sometimes
we're just like little 14-year-old boys again, and we're stuck together.
Quick waiting to happen there. The Adventures of Kevin.
That's what it is.
Yay!
When when we're able to do a headline tour again, that'll be the name of one of them.
It'll be soon. It will be soon. I'm optimistic. It won't be soon.
Have you done any booking recently?
I have done so much booking. I have.
How's it been?
It's been awful, but I've gotten even better at booking because I'm booking so many tours. I just wish it was so many tours for different artists and not the same tour over and over.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Rebooking the tours. I was thinking about that.
We're going to move it here. This is also now cancelled, so we're going to move it here. We're just not going to announce it this time.
You've gotten so good at booking the same tour.
I'm so fast, so efficient. So, you know what? Honestly, like I've been doing a lot of booking for stuff for next year, some of which will happen,
Yeah.
and some of which I suspect won't, and other things that will happen, but in a slightly different format to what I would initially expect. Who knows? I've got to be prepared for everything. What I don't want to do is sort of panic, book nothing for the first half of next year, only to then find out that actually everything's open, predominantly running as normal, and there's hardly anybody out touring because everybody kind of panicked.
Yeah.
Moved stuff. And I think it's really important that people have an outlet. I think there's a lot of people looking to go to shows and just go out and not even necessarily so much for the sociable element of it, but the fact that you cannot recreate live. You can't recreate that intensity of a communal group experience.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, even like as good as doing that live stream, birthday live stream felt, there's no substitute for being on the other end of it for a fan. I mean, it's cool, and like people will watch it, but I don't think it's ever going to be at a point where it turns into like paywall live streaming where you have to pay to view a stream. I think that turns more people away than it encourages. And
depends on what the paywall is there for.
right.
If there's a added experience, like a VIP type thing, or sort of at the end of the show a Q&A, or I don't know, a cookery class or an art class or something, there's a different spin on it, then it makes sense, and I get it. And I think that kind of thing is really helpful, and actually going forward, even once we're all allowed to tour again, will be something that will exist alongside the traditional
Right.
product.
It's going to be kind of a combination.
Yeah. But I mean, I think everybody had streaming fatigue after 6 weeks, didn't they? Everybody was doing streams. I'm so sick of looking at Instagram, if I'm completely honest. I haven't even started on the Facebook stuff.
Yeah, Facebook stream I've been seeing a lot of. I don't typically look at like Instagram live streams as much. Not that I really watch the Facebook live streams, but they're just popping up all the time.
I've been watching actually the Facebook live streams for the Shiprocked forum. Daddy hosting his bingo and his Q&As. It's great.
I haven't actually gotten to watch that yet. I watched like one or two of the kind of Q&A podcast sort of thing that he's done with a few of the Shiprocked artists, but I haven't watched the bingo yet. That's pretty good.
The Q&As are usually timed around 4:00 Pacific time, which means on a Friday I can justifiably call it work to sit down with a glass of wine.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. That's good. But I mean, there's been a lot of good streaming things out there, and I think it's really cool that technology that's existed and platforms that have been around for years is now finally being used properly, because I think everybody had to get over their initial fear of it, or then not understanding and educate themselves on it.
Right. Yeah, it's there's still a lot of people that I think can't quite wrap their heads around doing it either, and I don't want to say refuse to do it, but there's definitely kind of an apprehension still of like just the fact that it is not a replacement for a real live experience.
It's a whole different skill set. I work with an artist called Amanda Palmer, who's basically existed on the internet for 20 years. Like, she's queen of the internet. She knows how to do these things. She's done live streaming and various things on her Patreon for many, many, many years. But it's an entirely different skill set to be able to play to a room full of no one and engage with the audience as though they were there. And she's got that skill, but not everybody has. And to expect bands to just suddenly overnight be able to do that, oftentimes it just comes off as awkward and uncomfortable. Because
it does.
And also trying to get 5 band members somewhere where they can socially distance but still play together, not very likely to happen unless you are Post Malone and have a giant ranch in Utah where everybody can wing.
I was going to ask you which streams you've watched and which ones have been your favorite so far. The Post Malone one was one of the best ones that I've seen.
Incredible. I loved that so very much. It was extremely well done. I really enjoyed it. I watched that. I watched Code Orange at the very beginning.
I watched that one too.
Yeah, which one of the first ones, and I was so impressed with the quality of it. And Code Orange is not necessarily my favorite band, um, but just the ability that they had to pull that together so last minute, and the quality of the stream itself was spectacular. I really loved that. And I also watched, again, not particularly my music wheelhouse, but I watched Cascade at the Grand Canyon. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that one.
Oh my goodness, that was incredible. Literally Cascade DJing on the walkway at the Grand Canyon.
Oh, that's awesome.
I would like to see Darude play some Sandstorm in the Grand Canyon. That would be a live stream I'd watch.
A sandstorm during a sandstorm. Have them out in the desert.
Yeah, it's a missed opportunity if they don't do it.
Right. You should go and watch the Cascade one, but the last half an hour where the sun goes down. Ugh.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up.
I've discovered I really like Diplo, so I've been tuning into some. I guess you learn all sorts of things in quarantine. Wouldn't necessarily have.
You discover a lot of new things when you're bored.
Exactly. And actually, you know what? This time's been really great for checking out new bands and new music, and also just generally catching up on music I haven't had time to listen to. Because when you're in the office or the phone's going, and I'm still working all day, every day, albeit on cancelling things and moving things around and basically doing the internet equivalent of pushing papers around my desk.
Yep.
I'm still doing it, and it's hard to listen to music and consume product. Oh God, I hate that word. But
yeah, like actually being able to listen and to experience the music versus just having it on, right?
It's great. And
pay attention.
The day the Fiona Apple record came out, I was able to actually go and sit and listen to it 3 full times in one sitting.
Oh, you did 3 back to back?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was on the exercise bike, so it affords me good opportunity.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's a great record, though. I love that one.
Oh, I do too. I mean, you can't just listen to it once. It doesn't really sink in the first time.
Yeah, that's one of those where I think just her as an artist in general, you have to do multiple listens to really digest it.
Right. And I'm all about that 90s female empowerment bitterness movement. I love it.
I like anything that's like that.
Yeah, same.
Tori Amos is my queen. Thank you very much. That's great. So what new skills have you been learning in quarantine?
It's got to be skills. We learned how to navigate this.
We learned Zoom.
You're doing an excellent job of it.
I think we're a little better at being podcast hosts, which I don't know how to even know that, but I just feel with the experience under our belts that we're getting better at this.
Which area under your belt did you feel it in?
The general full. The doctor, was it the puppet? The puppet with the tie. that region.
Oh, speaking of puppets, sorry, this is a completely random wild one. This is how I've spent my quarantine. I've been rewatching the Dinosaurs puppet show.
What?
Finish. Yeah.
Dinosaurs puppet show.
What? Do you not know what I'm talking about? Baby Sinclair?
Baby Sinclair? Are you talking about the 90s one with it looks like claymation, but they're puppets?
Not the mama. Not the mama.
Yeah. What's that on?
It's on YouTube. It's all very out of sync, but it's not on YouTube. I think you can buy it on Amazon, which I keep meaning to, but at that point, if I buy it on Amazon, I then have to watch it on the main TV in the living room, and then everybody else knows that that's what I'm doing, spending my time.
So you're trying to hide it from everybody?
I'm just watching it on my phone, like, I'm saying, I'm just watching a live stream.
Why are you in the bathroom so long? I'm just, I ate something bad.
Exactly. Wow, you're really exercising a lot on that bike out there. Mm-hmm.
Is that
I do a lot of exercising?
Are these them?
Yeah.
These are puppets?
Yeah, man, it's Jim Henson. Well,
really?
In the main dinosaur costumes, so like Earl and Fran and whatever, it's people. Baby Sinclair is a puppet.
Oh yeah.
Or a really little person, I guess.
Dude, I love you use a little person for that.
Honestly, it's even better than I remember it being.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I remember that going on to some streaming platform a few years ago. I binged it all then.
Find it on a streaming platform.
It's not on anymore, I didn't think, but I thought they popped onto Netflix or Hulu for a year, and I binged the whole thing. Maybe it's
Oh,
Amazon Prime. I don't know.
I think it is on Amazon to buy, so I might just bite the bullet.
Oh,
And then
okay. So I just use somebody's because I
So
never.
maybe it's on Prime then.
I guess
I have
maybe.
more or less every streaming platform at this point, and the only one I pay for is Netflix.
Yeah, I don't pay for any of them right now.
They're all free.
They're all just there. I don't know how I even have
Okay,
access to
yeah,
these.
I'll give you $10, $20 at the end of the month towards all the other things I'm mooching off you.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I binged that back like 5 or 6 years ago, I think.
What else have you been watching?
Oh,
I
so much stuff.
Yeah,
I was watching Dave yesterday.
That show is my favorite new show.
I haven't seen that. I've heard it's really good.
You have to watch
You
it.
should watch
You have
it.
to watch it and report back to us on what you think.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no, everybody asked me to do that on Ozark, and nobody liked my opinions.
Wait, what was your opinion of Ozark?
I liked it, and I thought it was really well written and well acted. I thought it was really far fetched in parts. I didn't really understand what the fuss was about. And in the second to last episode, the depiction of the brother with bipolar, I got really, really, really angry about.
I also did.
Yeah, I have bipolar, and whilst I'm not disputing that some people with extreme forms have hallucinations and all the rest of it, and it's a very serious illness, the way they depicted it, I did not think was accurate at all, and actually is the kind of mentality that I come up against quite often, and I hate that. And I just also, I have 4 brothers. I don't buy into anyone willingly killing their brother in that way. I just got annoyed, and so
Yeah.
then
Yeah, it's
I don't care.
yeah, the way media portrays like a lot of mental illness is
I hate
wrong.
it.
And I love looking back on things I watched when I was younger, like things in the 90s are so even I feel like they're way worse. Like now people have more awareness, but they still are
They still get it wrong all the time.
yeah, making somebody seem just like like I don't know. It's just just the way that they have it portrayed and the way they make people respond to it and stuff. It's like it's off. I can't really think of an example, but it sounds like that's happened in Ozark.
Did you see there's a TV show, and I can't think of what it's called now, but with a boy, I think he's like 17 or 18 in the show with autism.
Atypical?
Yes.
Yeah, that one's really good. I have 2 nephews who are autistic, and it's a pretty great depiction of what autism looks like.
Nice.
Yeah.
So they did a good job.
Yeah, that is an instance
Nice.
where they did a good job. And I mean, again, there's a lot of different levels of autism on the spectrum, but I mean, it's a very accurate portrayal of like some of the social cues and behavior and stuff that are very typical of ASD kids, no matter what age. Like my one of my nephews is my age, like 6 months younger than me. So I have an older sister, and the other one is I think he just turned 21. So yeah, they're like adult men now, but they both are somewhat different versions of spectrum.
Right. I mean, we're all on a spectrum one way or another, aren't we? Whether it's gender, sexuality, orientation, mental capacity, intelligence, whatever. Everybody's.
Are you trying to say we're dumb?
No, but some people. There are definitely some people down the other end of the spectrum.
Like me.
But no, I think we're all snowflakes.
Everybody is a snowflake. I agree with that. Are you allowed to say when your next scheduled tour is? Like a date? You have to say who or what.
I won't say who because it's certainly not announced. But
yeah, you don't have to do that.
No, I just wanted a date.
I have a tour in January that I'm hoping to get off the ground, but I also think it's unrealistic, so I'm probably going to end up pushing that back to June.
That's the soonest?
January, February, and March, all of which I'm likely in the process of, all of which I am in the process of rebooking for later in the year, but still hopeful that the ones early in the year will go, but I don't want to get caught out if it's not possible to do those dates because of COVID to then go, well, okay, I didn't have a backup plan.
Yeah.
I was quite proud of myself at the very beginning of this, even before the gyms closed. I bought an exercise bike because I was just very conscious of the fact that if I wasn't able to go regularly to the gym or hiking or something, I was probably going to go insane.
So you just are always moving or physically active as opposed to like being out in the world. You're more of an introverted, like I gotta be exercising and active to maintain
Absolutely.
some sanity.
I run 3 or 4 times a week, and I do a couple of yoga classes, and I hike most weekends. And it's part of my management for the bipolar, but also just I'm a country girl through and through, and I've always been that way. And I like my own company, and I like to potter, by which I mean just sort of do stuff around the yard. I've always wanted a garage full of crap.
I like that you say you enjoy your own company.
I'm really fun, and I'm really kind, and
really
I'm a good listener.
Every time I talk, I'm really good at listening to myself.
It's amazing. Nobody interrupts me. No, you know what? I like to sit in the feed, and I like to listen to podcasts, and it's great. And I think a lot, and I cook a lot. I garden. I do pottery. Pottery really is like you can't focus on anything but what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I find it like meditative. Yeah.
You kind of prepared yourself for the quarantine, didn't you?
I've been preparing for 20-something years.
Like you just had the intelligence built inside you to tell you like there's going to be a time where you're going to be able to need to sit by yourself for 3 months.
I'm going to be stuck in here for a long time at some point. I better be ready.
Honestly,
there was a really good meme I saw going around at the beginning of all of this that said, "Introverts, check on your extrovert friends. They have no idea."
Yep. They're not ready for this. They don't know what's coming.
Exactly. But no, I mean, I'm really, really fortunate both where I live and, my mentality personally anyway, that I've even just stopped feeling guilty about the fact that I really love quarantine. The watertight excuse not to leave my house.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I mean, as much as I like going out and hanging out with my friends, like I'm perfectly content just kind of sitting around watching Netflix or.
I don't have any friends. So.
It was nice to have the pressure taken off. That I kind of have that FOMO sometimes. It's like the fear of missing out. I want to be doing stuff all the time and going to shows. And with this one, it took that pressure off to have to be doing something like active, like in that way. It saved me that you could still go outside because I love doing outdoor stuff too.
If I didn't have a yard or if I was completely by myself, then maybe it would be a very different experience. But, my poor boyfriend was visiting at the beginning of March from New York. Mm-hmm. And then sort of got trapped here.
Oh, that sounds like what happened to Chad.
That sounds
yeah.
like a good thing.
Good thing. So although Chad had planned to come out for a month, I think.
Yeah.
Ben had planned to come out for 5 or 6 days.
Yeah, he was saying he just keeps rescheduling his plane flight for later and later because
he told us it was the most exciting part of his day was to reschedule his plane fight once a day. Plane fight. I'm rescheduling my plane fight.
Ben was
I meant to fight my planes today, but
I'm fighting a plane, but I had to reschedule. The plane got scared. No, I was gonna say, to your point, Chris, we were right before everybody got officially kind of quarantined and locked down. We were at a local show in Detroit to see some of our friends, and then some of our friends that were touring from Cincinnati, and we kind of all had the feeling because it like South by Southwest had just been canceled or was like in the process of announcing being canceled or whatever it had been, and we all had this like weird feeling of like, I don't know if we should actually be going out or not. It's like it feels like we shouldn't be, but this might be the last chance we get to do this, and that was like before Chris and I got together like last Friday or 2 Fridays ago or whatever it was. That was like the last time that we saw each other. Or
everything shut down the following week. They closed all bars the week after the show.
Oh, isn't it?
Yeah, and the one that we went to was probably like 100 capacity, but at least 150 people in the place too. It was one of those awesome Detroit bars.
Wow, that won't happen again for a while.
Nope.
It's kind of a
not
good
at all.
send off. Nobody got sick that
Yeah.
I know of. Everybody was still
Yeah,
going.
we went out the night before the office sent us all home. So I think the lockdown was declared on a Friday, and our office closed everybody and threw everybody out on the Thursday. And on the Wednesday night, I'd gone to see a new band, and it was pretty full, and it was great, and I'm really happy that I did that. But since then, I'll be honest, the only thing I've missed about going out is a nice mezcal old fashioned, because I don't make
Ooh.
Hey, did we have old fashions together the first time that we
did.
we met? You
Yeah,
didn't?
Coles.
What's
What?
Coles?
Coles was the bar that we went
Yeah.
to, remember? And then Dan came and joined us as well.
I miss Coles. I very miss Coles. Not just because of the old fashions, but also because that was one of the best sandwiches I have ever eaten.
Those sandwiches were so good.
Coles is where I introduced Kim to Chad.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
you said that. You said that.
You did say that.
Wait, what was the restaurant that we ate at with you and Kim the day that we met you?
Oh, what's it called?
Because Coles was the day after. What was the one that we went to?
Oh man, I've totally forgotten. Downtown on 7th.
Yeah.
Probably wrong too, but
We all drank fruity drinks and shared them with each other, which also won't happen again, probably for a very long time.
true.
Like, let me try your drink. Let me try your drink. What's this cocktail?
But
Delicious.
isn't that why everybody traditionally orders a different cocktail? So
And then you forced us into ordering a chocolate lava cake because I kept talking about it, and I was like, I'm not gonna get it. And then you're like, you have to get it. It's
I
it's
don't
on
think
UTA.
said that. Oh, maybe I was then. I don't like chocolate, so I definitely didn't have an ulterior motive.
No, because I tried to make you eat some of it, and you were like, no, I can't do that.
Yeah, you said Parker and I must order a chocolate cake because we wanted it.
I'm good to you. I was trying to fatten you up and prepare you for quarantine.
So you knew about it all the way back then. That's where the foresight comes from, Chris.
You don't like chocolate? Is that what you said when you were talking about the cake?
I like really dark, bitter chocolate from time to time, but otherwise.
Yeah, we talked about that because I remember I always say, like, people are always like, I don't like dark chocolate that much. And then you said that's the only kind you like. I was like, me too.
Yeah. I just think, I don't understand this milk chocolate thing. It actually, when you think about it, tastes disgusting.
It's because it's milkier.
It's got a really vile texture.
Milk is gross.
Dude, I like all of it, though.
Ew.
I like white chocolate, milk chocolate, dark chocolate.
White chocolate is disgusting, dude.
White chocolate with the cookie and cream. The Krispies in there. Hershey's makes a little cookies and cream.
You're a savage.
Hershey's has got an aftertaste of vomit.
It does have a weird aftertaste to it.
It really does.
But dude, any chocolate, I'm about it.
I'm all about dark chocolate, especially when it's got like lava in it. And,
that is one of my favorites.
Some vanilla bean ice cream with it, and definitely a couple raspberries.
We've gone through a lot of ice cream this quarantine so far.
I've been buying dark chocolate ice cream.
I buy vegan.
All year.
Can't do the dairy, but
really?
I've discovered this one that is coffee and chocolate chip or something, but it's like a really bitter coffee taste. Oh,
nice.
Amazing. I love it so much.
Coffee ice cream is really good.
Oh,
I tried to make, have you guys seen that like whipped coffee thing that's going around?
Oh yeah, you tried it?
That trend. I tried to make it with it was like Starbucks instant coffee, like dark roast, and it ended up being not that great. But I think it might just be because I needed to like sprinkle some cinnamon on top or something. I don't know, man. But
whipped coffee.
Yeah, oh man, what is it? You have like, you get a packet or 2 packets of instant coffee. Like there's I'm sure a recipe somewhere online. You can just Google it, but you basically make whipped cream out of like instant coffee. So it's like hot water, sugar, coffee, instant coffee, and then you like take a blender, like a hand blender, and just like do it until it's nice and whipped up and like is like it looks like whipped cream.
That actually sounds like a traditional way to make a frappe, which I was taught a long time ago, 20 odd years ago when I lived in Greece. And that, like, frappe is the Greek way of drinking coffee. So you would get the coffee and a bunch of sugar and a tiny bit of water, and you'd whip it real hard until it was basically like a really frothy paste. And then you'd slowly add cold water and keep whipping, and then you'd put the ice in, and that was an actual frappe.
Oh, interesting.
Not
I'd love
what-
to try it that way.
It's
Not
really
what McDonald's has, isn't it? Actual frappe. Not the same.
I haven't been in a McDonald's in 23 years.
We only go
that's-
on tour.
Yeah, I never eat it unless I'm on tour. Actually, that's not true. I've eaten it at like 3 a.m. on the way home from bartending.
It's always
Several times.
it's always 3 or 4 in the morning, and it's just for the fries.
I used
Yeah.
to work
Only the fries.
It's not for frappies.
there. I was the fry man.
Frappies.
Well, McDonald's would be called the frappies or something like that because it's like not what it's supposed to be. So you
Yeah,
have
you
to say it
pronounce
wrong.
it wrong?
Yeah, because it's not the real thing anyway. It's
No,
gotta
we
be
don't have
its own
frappe
word.
here. This is a frappy.
That makes sense because it's not a frappe. Is that how you say it? Frappe?
Yeah, you dumb idiot.
I don't really know how you say it in Greek. I'm sure we just used to say frappe.
I don't know.
But
I
then
didn't know you lived in Greece.
I lived in Cyprus.
Where else have you lived? You've been all over the place.
Lived wherever I lived. I've lived in London and in a few different places in the UK. I lived in Cardiff in Wales. I lived in Cyprus, which is a Greek island, and I was only thinking this morning how much I would love to move back there. Yeah, that's about it really. Spent quite a lot of time in Texas, and then LA.
Nice. Greece does seem like the most beautiful place.
Oh, it's awesome. It's so awesome. I mean, it's so corrupt as well. Like where
Really?
yeah, I mean, I worked in this insane bar that you would never, ever be able to have anywhere else because of health and safety. And I was really good friends for some reason with the head of the police, the local police. Mostly because
Good.
tourists would get really fucked up or get into fights or whatever. And I think the first time that I was involved with that, it just happened that the guy was, I don't know, that I ran into him on the street or something and tried to help him. And because I was able to speak clearly to the policeman so that he could understand what I was saying, plus throw in the occasional Greek word, he loved me. So then I ended up unofficially becoming like this translator for the police department. So, to the point where he actually procured me a really not roadworthy chicken chaser motorcycle. I don't have any license or anything, but he gave me, so I was allowed to use it. It's great.
That's awesome. I've never been to Greece, but I've always wanted to take a vacation over there.
Athens.
Everybody I know that's been over there says nothing but good things about it. Corruption excluded, but
I lived on an island called Zakynthos as well, briefly. Not for very long, but that was really, really pretty as well. I think most people call it Zante, actually, but Zakynthos is the true name for it.
we were gonna ask you just because we know, like, from our end what happened when we first met you, which was basically like, all right, we're coming through on the 68 tour, and Kim was just like, hey, you're gonna meet my friend Bex. She's a booking agent at UTA. We're gonna go out to dinner with her, and I may be leaving part of that out. Chris, if you remember anything else, you can.
It's basically what it was. She's like, hey, when you guys get here in LA, we're gonna have a meeting with a booking agent, and we're pretty excited about it because we hadn't had any booking agents yet.
Except for Steve.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Father Dr. Lahane.
Huh?
What's that?
Don't forget Father Dr. Lahane.
Father, Dr. Father.
Yeah, he has to be now because he can't be a booking agent anymore because
Not allowed.
You ran him out. You ran him out of business, whether you knew it or not.
My intent all along.
But anyway, what we wondered was, more so like what was your end of it prior to actually getting together with us and meeting us and seeing us play and all that kind of stuff? Like what was the conversation with Kim from your end?
So I forget whether it was Kim or Chad that initially mentioned you guys to me. I think perhaps that it was when you played some shows with Wilson that
Oh,
I
it
was.
could have been Chad.
So I'm not sure that he sent it to me. I think I just sort of saw you on a bill with them somewhere and checked you out, and I couldn't find very much online. And then I asked Chad about you guys, and he said some really terrible things. So
Very good.
he obviously was playing it to Kim in the meantime, and she called me one day, I think, and said she found this band that she was really excited about and that she was going to work with, and could I take a listen? Or I think maybe I even just asked, can I take a listen? And I think at that point, it wasn't really a professional to professional conversation. It was a friend to friend. I'm really excited about this. And I just loved it because you guys are exactly the kind of thing that really floats my boat. Just that visceral rock and roll kind of something to say, great playing. Anyway, then obviously you were playing that show. Was it Chain Reaction?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
So I just figured that was a good opportunity to come down and see you and meet you and hang out. And the rest is history, right?
Mm-hmm.
So far,
that's it.
That has never booked a single show for you.
Well, we were starting to work on something, and then Mr. COVID-19 came in and said, "Hey, I don't like you very much, Bex. You should stop booking for the Bird Boys."
Captain COVID
in and said, "You look like you could use a break." But yeah,
before you get started, why don't you take a load off for
why don't you all sit back for a few months and think about the decisions you've made?
How dare you think about the decisions that you were about to make? Spend some more time thinking about them.
Right. Oh, I mean, I feel so bad for you guys because as messed up as it is for everybody, and there's obviously a lot of artists that out there that are losing money hand over fist from their touring, and that's their job, and like everybody that's lost their employment, so it's so have a lot of people in the music industry. But it's particularly frustrating for artists like you guys who are just beginning to get started and just about to start putting the plans out there and the wheels in motion. You've got your team assembled, there's real interest building, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, sorry guys, let's just put this on ice for another year.
Just kidding. Yeah, no, we were talking about that. Just that, obviously there's nothing that any of us could have done to salvage anything. Like, we had started working on plans with you, and it was starting to look like things were maybe going to solidify, and that we were going to have something April, May, June at the latest, and then it was going to go from there. And then right when things really started going was swept out from under us. But
we've
there's
gotten
nothing you
really
can do.
patient. We're very patient.
We're really good at we're really good at waiting.
Yep.
You guys have been waiting for so long.
It's only been 3 or 4 years.
Not even just the COVID time frame, but the fact that, when we officially started working together, that was, I can't even remember how long ago that was now. But, it's one of those things that's a bit like, hurry up.
October?
Beginning. Yeah, I was going to say it was like fall last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would have been like, I would say probably right after we got back from tour, right?
Yeah, when was it official? Was that, we got back mid-October.
Maybe November.
So
I don't know. It was somewhere around then. So the exact date's not really important, but
at that point you'd already been putting out music and playing some shows, obviously, that you guys had booked for yourselves, and so it was a sort of a no-brainer to like, okay, cool, let's move forward and get onto phase 1 of world domination. And you were super patient about it all, because it takes time to put those things in place at the best of times, and then, like you say, you got well and truly fucked by it.
That's one way of putting it.
Tell it like it is.
Yeah, I mean, we are no strangers to the process, obviously, just because we had booked ourselves for so long before
Right.
that. And so, despite any frustration that comes with it, it's very normal to us. And we weren't like, hey, why isn't anything getting booked? We were more so just saying like, hopefully something clicks here soon. And, of course, right when it seemed like it was starting to happen is when it got screwed. But
Yeah.
when
Well,
when we're able to again, we know that we've got some things that will work and that we can put something in motion. And
we'll all come out of this bigger, better, and stronger than we went into it, because we
right.
don't. And it will be a different level of normal that we're going back to. It will be a different world that we're going back to, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, I think
Always
that
going to change.
They're just going to get reset throughout this. That is, are long overdue.
I think that people that, like, obviously there's the very big artists that, they're going to be fine no matter what. But the smaller artists that are going to come out of this are going to be the ones who are looking at it as an opportunity for creativity and to try new things and to get out there in whatever way that they can. And I think that's the way that we kind of look at it. It's not like, hey, we've been screwed by this thing that's out of our control. It's out of everybody's control. So, what are we going to do about it? We got to do whatever we can do to come out on the other side.
I mean, it's like anything in life, isn't it? You don't see it coming. You can't prepare for something that doesn't exist in your reality at that moment. And when it comes along, you just have to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it. And I know it's certainly everyone at the beginning kept saying, well, at least we're all in this together. And actually, there was some weird comfort in that. The first week or two were incredibly tough. It
Oh
was just
yeah.
news every day. Cancel this, cancel that. This isn't going to happen. And then, that obviously continued and is still continuing to this day. But after the first couple of weeks, everybody, sounds awful, but everybody just kind of came to expect it. But also everybody understood that it wasn't an artist specific thing or an agent or promoter specific, that it was a worldwide, everybody was in the same boat, and there was really nothing to be done about it apart
Mm-hmm.
from an understanding and patient with each other while we figure out how to get through this. It'll
Yeah.
come. We'll get there. It won't look the same as it did before, but maybe
It'll be back. It'll be back. We'll be back.
I'll be back, and I'll be booking tours that are going to happen.
They won't be canceled or rescheduled.
You won't have to do that anymore.
You won't ever have to reschedule.
One-time booking. One-time book the band, then they play.
You know what? I really, really love my job, and I really love booking tours. So I don't honestly mind. It's just more, after a while, you have days where you just kind of question, why am I spending time doing this when next week I'm going to be redoing it? But it's what it is. You know what? It's good practice. The one really good thing about all of this is that the people that I am talking to, whether that's colleagues or managers or label folk or whatever, I'm having so many more conversations with people than I would normally have sitting in my office. I think everybody's kind of a bit sick of Zoom and whatever else, but it is also really nice that people just, what would have been phone calls traditionally are now Zoom calls. And I really like seeing people face to face.
Yeah, we've really enjoyed doing this podcast too. We get to sit down and talk to people for a good amount of time usually, and we definitely wouldn't have been able to do that not in this situation. People were too busy.
Yeah, of course.
And I mean, we were too busy too. Like, we've been talking about starting a podcast of some sort for a long time, and we didn't really have a way to do it or the time to think about a way to do it until this happened. So I mean, that's been one of the big positives just for the two of us, I think.
really hope that on the flip side, when we start coming out of all of this, that you manage to retain this time that you set aside each week to do this, and that you continue on with it in the same way that I hope that other people that have found passions outside of their everyday workspace, that people have some sort of sense of work-life balance. I think probably people will for 6 months, and then they'll forget it and it'll go back to, 24-hour working day.
Yeah, I think eventually everyone will just go back to the routines.
Yeah, as soon as you're
Lifestyle.
able to, it's like, oh, we're just going to revert to how we used to do it. So
completely forget.
There will be a lot of people that don't.
Yeah,
But,
I think so too.
we'll see. I mean, I like to think I've got a fairly good work-life balance for the majority of the time.
I think for the most part, I do. Sometimes I maybe work too much, but that's, I don't know, whatever. It is what it is.
About things, and then it's hard to stop. But I do have a problem with focus a lot of the time. So I tend to be like, if I've suddenly found a focus and a momentum, then I'm going to keep going for as long as possible.
I do the same thing. It's the same thing with writing music or do, like if I'm editing a video, or Chris and I have come up with some idea and we're trying to like figure out the logistics of how it's going to work. It's like I go all in maniac on it, and then I'll text Chris like 50 times in a row, like, hey, I thought of this. Did you think of this? And I'm like, by the end of it, I look at it like, oh, dude, I shouldn't have texted you that much in a row.
That's what it's about.
You sound like a shunned.
Sound like what?
Shunned girlfriend.
Yeah.
I'll just be sleeping and wake up to 35 text messages and then be like, text me back.
It's either that or I wake up to like 20 group text messages that I missed.
Yeah, same.
Not like group text. I will just put that out there.
You will not?
I don't like group text. It's useful, and I love being able to keep in touch with people, but it gives me anxiety when I turn my phone on in the morning and there's just messages.
I'm only in like 3 group texts. One of them is with Chris and Kim, and then one is with some of my coworkers at the school, and then there's another one that's like me, Chris, Steve, and our friend Sammy, and that one is the most vulgar of all of them. But
what's really kind of weird, I don't know if we've ever even talked about this, but Parker will text me 3 different times in 3 different ways. So he'll text me to just me, then he'll share something to me and then 2 other people, and then he'll talk about maybe a business something with me and Kim. So I get 3 and I'll do the same thing too, and then I'll send it back and I'll be like, okay, this one, this is this group, and then this is just me and Parker. So that makes it to a point where Parker and I are communicating almost 100% of the time that we are awake.
Yes, you're like a married couple at this point. You need to know what the other half is thinking, doing, saying at any given moment of the day, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, in a way, that's exactly how it has to be.
Our significant others make fun of us all the time and worry that we're just going to go off and, marry each other. But,
But you wouldn't have what you do have if you didn't communicate in that way.
That's the reason our band works.
Yeah. Well, it just makes it easier when we're always telling each other every thought. Because then there's no like surprises, or there's no like wondering or anything, and then nothing gets ruined. It's all just growing together the whole time.
Right. That's really nice.
I feel like our team, like we've talked about this before, Chris and I have, but we feel kind of that way about our general team of people that we've built around the Messenger Birds. Just that we feel like everybody is kind of on the same page, same level of like, we're all real weird people, all have a very strange, dark sense of humor, and all really love working on the stuff that we work on.
Absolutely, and I think that's key, isn't it? You've got to find the people that get where you're coming from, that understand where you're going, that you have a natural rapport with, that you can communicate frequently, honestly, transparently, whatever, and have fun while you're doing it. Like, we're all going to work damn hard. we're all pulling in the same direction, but there's no reason not to have fun with it.
I mean, yeah, this is only maybe the third time that we've talked to you. And it feels so comfortable though. As soon as we met you, I felt like we clicked it off pretty easy. We ended up spending the whole night together. Like, out, not like in, but out.
Yeah, but that's the fun of it, though, isn't it? That's when you know that you've found the right people that you can just click with. I love
Yeah,
this.
it was easy. It should be easy.
Yeah. Zoom is about to kick us off here, guys. So
yeah.
this might be a good place to end it. But Bex, thank you for taking time out of your day to talk with us and hang with us and to do this. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much.
Good luck with the rest of your quarantine, guys, and I hope I get to speak to you again soon.
Yeah, let's do this again.
Definitely.
Bye, Bex.
Bye, Bex.